Okay guys, so in this video we are going to talk about Canary releases and how we can work with Kubernetes to make this fairly straightforward. So let's get into it. So what we're going to cover is what is a Canary release and what are the benefits of such a release, and then we're going to talk about, or rather I'm going to demo an example of how it can work if you're using something like Kubernetes. So, a canary release is a concept where we're basically borrowing this idea from the old miners back in the day, where they would use a small canary bird in order to figure out if there was a gas leak or something similar when they were working down in the mine shaft. So they will simply release out or put a cage with a canary in an area that that is hazardous, and if the canary dies, so in this case I'm sorry to say, they know that it's time to get the hell out of there. And we have a similar approach when we're doing releases. So the basic idea is that we take a version or a new instance of something that we're going to deploy that we are a little bit unsure about is going to be stable, or there might be bugs, or there might be some problems with our new application or the new version of our code. So what we do is that we want to pretty much just release that out into production as is, but only to a subset of our traffic, so that if something goes wrong, only a very small portion of our users are affected, and we can immediately roll back and say and look at what the issue was. Now, the benefit to making a canary release is that if you have a system that is either very large or where you have a low level of confidence in that the changes that you just made is going to actually work. Sometimes you make very small changes that you feel very confident in, and sometimes you do bigger things that are a little bit scary. And these sorts of situations where you're not really sure if this is going to work, a canary release is a really good thing. So let's have a look at how we can do this. So the basic idea is very simple. You need a load balancing layer or some type of load balancer that directs traffic, and then you basically need to direct traffic so that some of the traffic goes to your main application or the working code, and some of the traffic goes to the canary. So I've created this very simple little Kubernetes configuration file where we have one service, and I'm just doing this with Minikube on my local laptop, so just bear with me with this because I didn't have the energy to set up like a GCP account or an Amazon account just to demo this part, or rather than to do this demo. So we're using a node port here on my local laptop. We're mapping my port 30,000 to my target port, which is 3,000, and we're matching against the micro application. And then we have the Canary version, which is pretty much the same thing. The only difference here is that I have another selector, which is called Canary. Now, after that, I have this deployment here, which is my main application. We're just pretending here. So I have, well, it's the micro application, and it's running on version 1 of my application. And then we have a pretty much identical replica, except for that the deployment name is different, and I have that extra match label here called Canary, and this is running on version 2 of my image. So what I can do now is, you will notice that there are 0 replicas here, so I can do a, let's do a kube apply -f, and let's do micro YAML. Oh, Kubernetes kubectl, sorry. Apply f micro. So now we're applying all of our changes, and if we go into my default namespace here, oh, I have my own aliases for this, so I kind of forget that, yeah, it's muscle memory, I'm sorry. Get pods, like so. And here we'll see my 2 pods. So this is my main application. These 2 pods are now serving up content. So if I do http://demo, and absolutely nothing. And why is that? Oh, sorry, I forgot the port number. There we are, port number. So demo is just a local domain that I declared. It's basically just localhost. So I need to give it the port number. So now I'm actually hitting my application. So the first version of this application was, let's not look at that, let's look at my little application here. So we have this port or this server running here, and then we have this very silly little application. This is version 2. In the first version we simply had this text here. That's it. So that's all this application is doing. It's just going to respond with foo. So now let's pretend that I want to make a Canary release. I want to check out if this is safe. All right, let's say that I want to just do a really rough thing. I'm going to do a 50-50 split between the traffic that's going to my main working code and to this version 2. So I will update my replicas to 1 here, and then I will downgrade my replicas of the main application by 1, so that the traffic, there's only 2 containers running at the same time. So let's do kube ctl apply -f micro, and now this is all rerouting. So kube ctl get pods, and now you'll see here that it's terminating one of the instances, but it's also actually spun up the, let's see if it can finish this. Yeah, there we are. So now I have 2 instances. One is the actual real instance and one is the canary. So if I now start doing curls, let's do curl here, and let's do, there we are. So now it's all up and running. So foo bar, foo bar, foo bar. Do you see that now it's actually splitting the traffic between version 1 of my release and version 2. Now if I wanted a lower percentage of my traffic to go to the Canary release, I would simply have more replicas of the main product and just maybe 1 or 2 replicas of the actual Canary. So this is now me kind of just allowing Kubernetes proxy system to do the load balancing for me. I can do a more advanced thing and like add other logic where I could like create a much more elaborate setup with something like rules where if there's a specific header, I can go to one path. If it's coming from a specific IP, you should go down there. So there's many ways I could do this, but this is the base. This is just the basic idea of how a Canary release works. So let's say that I actually find that, oh yeah, you know what? This is working really well. I'm noticing that this is actually, it's actually working. I will then just upgrade this to 2 replicas. I will downgrade that to 0 replicas, and then I will simply bump the version number of my main deployment, so that now it's actually safe for us to use the version 2 of my image. And that's pretty much how you can, in a very simple manner, create a release process where you can deploy something as a Canary, check it out and see if it works. If it doesn't work, you roll back and you basically just downgrade this, or it's actually working, then you simply roll everything over to version 2. Now before we leave, I just wanted to point out something that I think is a nice tip that you can use as well. So sometimes when something doesn't really work all that well, or you need for some reason to debug the Canary instance, it might be a little bit hazardous to do, or hazardous, it's just very inconvenient. Like if I'm hitting this endpoint here and then like it's kind of semi-random if I'm gonna get version 1 or version 2. I don't really want that. So what you can do is something similar to what I have done here. So I do something like canary.demo. Now I'm using the port number here just because I haven't set this up as a proper domain, but in a normal situation, you would simply reference the subdomain. So you can create a subdomain, something like Canary or test or something like that, and then have that to be dedicated to only hitting the Canary release. So that way you can actually allow the traffic in production to be on the normal domain, like the top domain, and simply go to the round, like every other time, or randomly go to either the Canary release or the main release. And then if something goes wrong, you can actually go yourself and just go to the subdomain and actually only hit the Canary boxes. So the way to do that is also fairly simple. It's basically this thing here, where we're using Kubernetes label system, or the selector system, where you'll notice here that in the main product, I'm only referencing an application. Like this is going to connect to a pod that has the app micro selector. And in the Canary version, it's going to look at app micro and version Canary. And as you can see here, that's how it's set up here. So this is the main product, which just has that selector, and then you have two labels here, one for app and one for version, so that you can more specifically target the Canary deployment. So this is a very simple example of how the basics of a Canary release is probably going to work in most cases. Have a great day.